Hello, hello, dynamic speakers and coaches. This is our training for today. Bow, 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 bow. Feel like we need some intro music. I'm gonna tag some peeps that said they wanted to come today. So today we are talking about, finding your powerful your powerful speech topic. Okay, now this is a question that I get asked a lot. Hey Jamie, nice to see you here. This is a question that I get asked a lot. This is something that people tell me all the time that they struggle with, is like knowing what to talk about, knowing what their story is, what their signature story is, or their signature speech. So I'm gonna give you some tips today on some ideas, some ways to kind of like get those ideas flowing and then also narrow it down. So I would love to know, before we get started, are you an aspiring speaker? Is that something that you want to maybe add to your business structure, add to your repertoire? Or perhaps you are just looking to get some ideas to include into your marketing in terms of your speech, your signature story. So drop a 1 if you're an aspiring speaker, drop a 2 if you are here just to get some ideas for your marketing. Both are great, and this is going to help you with both of those things. If you are new to this group, let me tell you who I am. I'm Emanuela Hall. I am your speaking and visibility coach. I help mission-driven coaches and aspiring speakers to tell their story, become dynamic speakers so that they can attract more of their dream clients from the stage and the screen. Now, I have 2 very exciting announcements today, and usually I save them to the end, but I feel like I'm gonna just burst. Now, you may have already seen the announcement that I dropped yesterday, last night, but here it is. Get Seen, Get Paid is live. This is the 6-week intensive one-on-one with me for, like I said, those mission-driven coaches and aspiring speakers. If you are ready to explode your visibility, perfect the art of telling your story, and get paid from videos, like doing videos in your business, speaking in front of other people's audiences. If you want to get out there, right? This is for the established coach who's getting clients, knows your foundations. You're not really too afraid to show up. You just need some guidance, some direction on how to really get yourself out there and become the sought after authority in your niche. Then this program is for you, my friend. Like I said, it's a one-on-one intensive, so we're going to do a lot in a little bit of time to really boost you and get you out there. If you want to know more details, that's all I'm going to say, okay? The details are in the sales page, the sheet that you will get. So if you want to know more about it, just send me a DM. You can just write "seen" and I will send them your way. We can chit-chat a little bit, see if this program is good for you. All right, I will save my other announcement for the end. Keep you in suspense a little bit. So let's talk about your powerful speech. You can say powerful, you can say impactful, signature. It's that speech that you can tell over and over again that's really going to move your audience from just liking you to buying from you. Okay, so this is step 1. We have to narrow down what that is. If you know, I am 6.5 months pregnant. So my breath, when I do these lives, I get really excited and then I need to take more breath. That's where I take a little water pause. It's part of telling your signature speech or your signature story is dramatic pauses. Okay. All right. So your powerful speech must include these 4 things. Okay, go ahead and get your pen and paper. I know y'all are like me, you want to take notes. get your pen and paper or get your phone, take notes on your phone. But you want your speech to have these 4 things. 4 things. Number 1, it should be something that you are passionate about speaking on, okay? If you are not passionate about speaking on women's rights, then you probably shouldn't choose that topic, right? This is kind of a no-brainer, but sometimes we do get asked to speak at events and we're like, it's not really my thing, but I don't want to say no, right? We have that, I don't want to say no because it's a job or it's a gig or somebody might be watching. But I want you to always think of like, how can I add value to this in my own way, in my own unique way? How can my story mesh into this ideal, this audience, right? Because sometimes you might get asked to speak in front of an audience that is not super specific to your dream audience, to your dream client. So you need to figure out a way to weave that in. And I think you always need to start, I know you always need to start with something that you are passionate about. If you're asked to speak about the environment and that's not something you're passionate about, how can you take something you're passionate about and infuse it into something that audience needs? Okay, it takes a little creative spin, but start with what you're passionate about. Number 2, your powerful speech should always include stories. Stories, my friends, are what gets people in. Stories are the hook. Stories are how we unite, how we connect. If people can see themselves in your story and can connect with the feeling of the story, not so much the circumstances, then they're going to feel seen. They're going to feel understood. So we always want to include stories. We don't just want to include facts. I'll share my little story here in a minute. My big story. And then this ties in with the story piece. The number 3 is it should always draw on your audience's desires. And maybe a little bit of their pain too. So because all of you in here are coaches and speakers, you're not just telling a speech for your own pleasure, right? I mean, I'm sure it's great if it's also pleasurable. We want to enjoy what we do. But ultimately, we're hoping to move people to do something. And how we do that is by tapping into what they want, what they desire, and what their pain is. This may sound very familiar for those of you that are familiar with marketing. It's very familiar, right? Speaking is another form of marketing. And number 4, in what your powerful speech must have, it must have an objective, or another word, an intention. You need to know, what's the point of your speech? What do you want your audience to do? Start there and then work backwards. Okay, I want them to do this. This is what they want. This is where their pain is. These are some stories that I can weave in that are going to help draw that out. And I'm really passionate about it. If you can check all 4 of those boxes, then you've got a powerful speech. Okay? Just wanted to lay the groundwork in what that actually is, what that actually looks like. Now let's go through how you can actually find your powerful speech. So, what I want to ask you, if you are watching the replay, let me know. Participate in the fun. participate in the fun anyways. Let me know, are you somebody who has so many topic ideas that you're having a hard time narrowing it down? Right? So that's number 3, drop a 3. I'd like to just know, where people are at, where you're struggling. Or is it that you feel like you have nothing? Like no speech, no story, no event you can draw from. And in that case, drop a 4. Okay, because I find it's usually like one end of the spectrum or the other. People are either like, I have so many ideas, so many things I could talk about. How do I know which one? And then some people are like, I can't think of anything. Nothing really crazy has happened to me. I don't really know what to share. These tips are going to help for both of those categories. Okay? So first, if you really are serious about finding that powerful speech, finding that powerful story, that message, we need to get rid of all the mumbo jumbo in the brain, the monkey mind. So before you do anything else, tip number 1, clear the mind. And that's going to look different for each of us. My go-to things are move my body, right? Movement just gets the energy out. And sometimes when I'm walking, I can think and I can talk to myself, and it gets those things going. Now, sorry, just checking to make sure that So that's number 1. Hey, Cassandra. And another way I do it, so I move my body, meditation and breath work is great for this too. And then a brain dump. Like if you've never done a brain dump, you just write everything down that's in your brain, get it out on paper. So that's number 1 is clear the mind. Clear the mind of all the mumbo jumbo, of all the monkey mind. Okay. Number 2, and this is really helpful for people who think that they don't have any story. But also for you if you feel like you have too many and you don't know how to narrow it down. You visualize your life timeline, right? From when you were born to present day. And write down all of the things along the way that you have overcome. All of the things along the way that you have learned. Because you may surprise yourself that you've actually triumphed a lot more than you thought. Things that maybe you didn't think were a big deal, right? Maybe your parents got divorced and at the time you're like, oh yeah, well, lots of people's parents got divorced. But what did you overcome specifically from that experience? How did it shape you? So just write down as many things as you can think of. I like to say like 19 or 20 things you can think of. Okay, then step 3. Separate paper, or maybe like you write the list on one side. On the other side, I want you to pick 3 to 5 topics that you are super passionate about. Because remember, our powerful speech, we have to be passionate about it. It's not going to connect, it's not going to land if we're just like, meh, whatever about it. So what are 5 topics? Maybe it's health. Maybe it's, like I said, women's rights or the environment or, meditation, spirituality, motherhood, whatever it is. Once you pick those topics, right? So step 3 is choose those topics. Then step 4, you're going to look at your list and you're going to see which of those things you've overcome, do they fall into any of those 5 categories, right? So let's go back to that example of your parents getting divorced. Perhaps that was the gateway for you to deepen your spirituality, and that can land under there. And maybe there's several topics, several instances in your life, several stories that all tie into that same topic. Okay? So then once you've linked them, and if they don't, and some of them might go in multiple categories, some of them might not fall into any. Right? Then you do another calculation. You look at your list. You might need to rewrite it under each topic. And this is where you really have to lean into your intuition, your gut. I have to stand up. My legs are starting to numb on this stool. Really start to lean into your intuition and go with what feels energized. Okay, so you look at your list, read it out loud, and start to say, which of these topics is really calling to me? And maybe it's the category that has the most things, like while you're like, wow, I have a lot of stories that fall into that topic. Perhaps that's at least my topic, my general topic. Okay, so perhaps there were several items. We're going to stick with this example, spirituality. Perhaps there were several instances in your life that led you on this path. And then from those, right, you want to see how they weave together to connect to your audience. So then step 5, I think we're at 5. Who can these stories help? Who can this message help? So you may start to notice a common theme within those 5 stories, let's say. And that theme is like your message, your big message. Now, sometimes it's just one story, one really big story. What are the overcoming things? What is the most impactful message from that? And then you want to think of who can it help. And hopefully that's already the people you love helping and you love serving. Hopefully it's the people that you're already serving in your business. And if not, maybe this is a sub business. Maybe this is a side hustle. Maybe this is just something you want to do, you're passionate about. But you still need to know who it's for. Okay, so let's review. You clear your mind, do whatever that looks like for you. Movement, breath work, brain dump. Get the mumbo jumbo out of there. Set some time aside for this. Then go through, visualize that life timeline and write down all the things you've overcome. Then we're going to pick our topics that we're passionate about speaking on. Then we're going to match the things we've overcome and put them in categories, and don't stress, right? But sometimes maybe it doesn't fit. And then you're going to review and go with the one that feels energized. And this is what I want to say. We are evolving humans, right? When I did my one-woman play, if you aren't familiar, I'll give you a little lowdown. So in 2015, I had my first child, and it did not go the way that I thought it would, the way that we're told it's going to go. So it was a very difficult, a very isolating experience. In 2018, I decided to just write it all down, write it all out. And in 2019, I turned it into my one-woman play called My Breast Self. And I learned 3 things from that experience. Number 1, stories. Sharing your story can help you on your healing journey. When we express ourselves, our thoughts and our feelings have less power over us. We've put them out in the world. Number 2, creative expression can help us heal. And number 3, sharing your story helps others, connects you to others. And it's the third one that inspired me to start being a speaking coach to help other people share their stories that are then going to go help other people. So that's a big piece of my message, a big piece of what I do as a speaking and visibility coach. It's not just about becoming a dynamic speaker, but sharing the story, being a little vulnerable. And what I want to say here is that if I were to write that story today, if I were to write that play today, it would look so much different. Because I've evolved. I see it differently. It would still be healing. It would still be a great way to connect me to my passion and creative expression. And it would still help people. But the people it helps might look different. So I don't want you to feel like you have to pick this signature speech, this signature topic, and then that's it, right? Today, practice, right? Pick one of those topics, pick one of those things, set some time aside, and just write. Just get it out of you. And then pick another one the next day. Get it out of you. Which one had the most energy? Read it the next day. You're like, that was really good, or meh. Sometimes I do this with my content. I will write something out and let it sit for a day or two. When I go back to it, I'm like, oh gosh, I got to do all these edits. But just give yourself permission to evolve and to grow. Okay? And then the last step, right, is connecting the stories with the topics you're passionate about with the who, right? And remember that when we're giving that speech, we want that who, we want to have an intention and know what that who wants and what that who needs. Does that make sense? Okay. Let me say that again. So you have your passionate topics, you have your story topics, the things you overcome, they link together, and they also link with what your ideal audience member needs and wants. That is the package of the powerful speech. It's where all those three things, it's like, what are those diagrams called with the three circles? When those three things come together, your passions, your stories, and what your dream audience member desires and wants and needs, and you have a very clear intention, you will be powerful and you will move people. You will activate them. It's not just about giving them what they want. Because when they see you loving and lighting up about your topic and really being connected to it, that excites them, right? We are interpersonal beings. We feed off each other's energy. We're like, oh yeah, I'm into this. Okay, yeah. Spelling? Yeah! The Venn diagram, yeah. Thanks, Cassandra. I knew you knew it. Yeah. I used to have one, actually, for this exact topic. Okay. Now I'm going to drop the second announcement. If you missed the first one, push rewind. Push rewind and go see it. But the second one is that if you want to actually implement everything we've been talking about today, now you're welcome to take these tips and go do it on your own. I hope you do. But if you're like, I probably won't do that, then I want you to join us for our workshop. It's the Find and Write Your Story workshop. It only happens 3 times a year. So this is obviously the last time this year, and not sure when it's going to happen again. Probably not till April or May. But this is a creative exploration workshop. So we do some creativity, some creative expression. Then we go through these exercises together. I help you kind of like narrow it down. And then you also start to write the outline for your story. And then you practice talking about it, being vulnerable in community with other like-minded entrepreneurs and coaches and speakers. It's a really beautiful workshop. I love running it. And it's happening on Tuesday, November 22nd. So it's in 2 weeks. I'm going to drop the link down below so you can just jump in and register. It's $27, but you do get the replay. And you really walk away with like a solid foundation to continue working on your story and speech. If you cannot make it live, you can still register and get the replay and then do it on your own. I know it's not as engaging, right? But like I said, if you don't want to wait till April or May, and you really want to move the needle forward with your self-expression, with your storytelling, with your visibility, then this is a great place to start. So let me know or actually don't let me know. I'm just going to pop the link down below. But if you are interested in Get Seen, Get Paid, then send me that DM and I'll send you all the details. All right. Friends, thank you so much for being here. I love talking to you all and I love hearing from you all. So if you want to drop me a comment, let me know what was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. And of course, let me know other things you're struggling with, because this was a great topic to cover and we can do some trainings on it. All right, friends. Take care. Have a great Wednesday.